Alright guys, I got this Honda Accord here. This is a 2005 model V6. So if you have a 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, guys, it's the same procedure. This is a V6 again, but it's the same procedure, right? And we're going to be changing rack and pinion. I'm going to give you all the torque specs, all the information you need. And the part I have right here in this box, I'm going to show you the part number and how much it costed me. Job has good amount of little timing frame to it. It's probably going to take you good 3-4 hours, maybe 5 hours. But skilled like me, within 3 hours you should be doing it. It has 2 bolts there, then another bolt there. Well, 2 for the frame. 2 for the rack. And then it has a number 10. You don't have to, for the bracket on the top of the bracket on the rack and pinion. There's a 10 power steering line. And then it has 3 bolts from the rack down, 2 line tie rods, and frame bolts loosening up a little bit, and the piece of guy is out of there. But anyways, I'm using this. This is the brand I'm using right there, Vision OEM. And there's the part number. As you can see, it's a heavy little guy. And let me read the part number to you. 3050148. This is Reman, and they give me a good warranty. But the piece costed me close to $200 plus $77 core. And when I return this, they'll give me my money back. Okay, and I'm gonna show you all the tools. And there's the piece. There's the rack and pinion, guys. If you guys want to change this, just follow my steps. It comes with the inner tie rod and replace the outer too. I do have a video on that. So pretty much this guy, once you loosen up the bolt here, there's another bolt here, and there's going to be a rubber bushing here with the bracket. All you do is, from inside, you're going to have to take out the bolt here. There's a plastic cover inside, 3 bolts, take that out too. This thing is going to come forward a little bit, like 2 inches, and then that way, and then it slides right out. But anyways, let's get this job going, alright? Couple of more things. If you have Acura TSX, it's a similar procedure. Just be careful with the part. It might have a little bit of different part number, but I think it should be same. Your parts department guy will tell you that. And if you need torque specs on those, just hit me up. I'll send you the torque specs, okay? So let's get this thing going. Okay, got the Honda hooked up here. The shocks are broken here. I'm gonna show you how to change those too, because we're gonna change those as well. Anyways, first thing, I'm gonna suck out all the fluid from the reservoir because I don't want all the fluid going to the new rack. And then once we open up the lines, all the fluid is gonna shoot out anyway. But from right here, we can see a whole bunch of bolts. We're gonna fish them out from right here, or probably from the bottom. And also for the rack and pinion lines, is all right there looking at us. And we're gonna tie up the steering. You do need to tie up the steering. Make sure you make it nice and straight first and lock it up. We're gonna put the seat belt right through it. We're gonna take out the knuckle bolt from down there. And we're gonna remove the tires. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna suck out the fluid, and then I'll show you the leak that we have down underneath. It's on this side. All right, got this vacuum hooked up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna simply take out all the old fluid. There's gonna be fluid in the line, so you're gonna have a big spill down there as well. There you go. It's all out. All right, inside the car, I'm gonna take out this key. First thing I'm gonna do is, I already got the steering straight. The tires are perfectly straight. Right now, the steering is in the center. Make sure you lock up your steering because if you don't, you will break the coil. There's a coil winding inside, clock spring. That's what it's called. But this is the best thing right here that you could do right here. And I can't do it with the one hand, so I'm gonna have to put my camera away, and I'm gonna just lock this up in the buckle right there. There you go, it's all locked up. And if you want, you could just even put the seat back, and it's gonna grab the steering really good. So go right through here and lock it right there. And I am gonna need more space, so I'm gonna make this go back, because down here, right down here, while we're here, we're gonna remove this cover right here. So this cover right here, you just yank it off and it comes right out. All right, so there's the cover. And there you go. And right down there you have that number 12. So I'm gonna take off that number 12, and then I'm gonna just let this thing sit right in here, and our knuckle is gonna be loose. All right, so I got my number 12 here. Got me this ratchet here. And I think it's a number, whoa, I think it's a number 10. It's not even a 12. Wow, usually it's a 12. All right, got me a number 10 wrench here. And this thing is not easy to remove. And I will give you torque spec on this. Everything I can get my specs on, I will give you the specs on. But I think once this is loose, you should be able to turn it by hand. And the bolt will come out, special bolt, keep it here. And after that, you should be able to yank this guy up, and I would suggest you leave it right there, just like that. You don't need to do much with it. And we're done on the inside. All right, got the tires off on both sides. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen up this bolt on the tie rod. You're gonna do it now because later on you're not gonna be able to do it. But there you go, that one's loose. Simple. All right, this adjustable wrench works well, and I use it just for that purpose. All right, same thing on this side. So I'm going to be showing you things on one side, and it would apply to the other side as well. But since I'm here, okay, I think I'm going the wrong way. So if I was looking at it, I would tighten it that way. Okay, so in the back. All right, yeah, definitely was going the wrong way. So we're gonna go this direction now. All right, camera in one hand doesn't work. But anyways, loosen this up just like I did the other side. And here's our leak. We got a leak right here. And also the steering is hard. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this out, this cotter pin. We're gonna remove this tie rod, also the bolt, and then we're gonna take off the number 10 on this plate here. This plate has to come off, and also there's a bolt here. Looks like a probably 15 millimeter. I'll figure that one out. And there's one on the other side also. So there's two on that, on top of that rack and pinion. Alright, so this side, same thing. Cotter pin comes out. Just like that. And then we're gonna remove this bolt right here with the impact gone. This is a 17 millimeter. Okay, so this bolt has to come out right here. This nut, that's what I mean by bolt. So this comes out. After that, there's few ways to take off this tie rod. They sell a tool that forks it out. There's a fork. Well, there's one that compresses it out, fork, or you could tap it right here with the hammer. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna tap it right here with the hammer. Okay, so it might not come on because with the one hand, I might not have that kind of force, and the light is on the way. But try not to hit it here because you'll damage the threads if you're not replacing it. Okay, it will come out eventually, but with one hand I can't do it, so I'm gonna have to put the camera to the side. There you go. The dust is still flying. I tapped it really good and it pops out. So if you want to count, you can count the threads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. If you want to put the same one back in, 17, to get your alignment back to the spot. But we're gonna take off this bolt and this bolt. There's one more back there, and then we're gonna take out this little guy and this little guy, and there's a 17 millimeter down here, 14, and 19. And also I am gonna loosen up, not too much. I'm gonna take out this completely, and I'm gonna loosen up the bolt for this frame here, and then I'm gonna try to do the same thing on this side, so I could get a little bit of for downforce on that rack and pinion. And there's a one bolt all the way down there. You can see all that from the top and the lines and everything. Okay, tie rod is out here, and on the other side I took off the tie rod. It's very critical to take it off on this side, because the tie rod is gonna work like a hook and it's gonna grab onto things. All right, so from down here we can remove the shield. We're definitely gonna remove that shield. It has a bolt going right through it, and then we're gonna take off that bracket, and I see a spark plug in there sitting in the corner. We'll take off those two bolts. They're probably gonna be stuck, and then we're gonna bring the car down and remove the lines. And I don't think we have any space down here to fish out the lines. It's gonna be very tough, but from the top it's much easier. We could put an extension to take out these bolts. Okay, so I'm using a set of these crow feet. Notice the 14 is missing because the 14 is in there with my ratchet right there, and I'm turning it counterclockwise, which means I'm pushing it towards the firewall. So this one is loose, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the other one. Once it's loose, then you can use a small little stubby 14 millimeter wrench, and let me pull this out so you guys can see. And now I'm gonna switch it with the 17, because the other one, the other line right there, the fat line right next to it, is a 17 millimeter, and hopefully that one becomes loose as well. Okay, so I got my 17 loose also from right here. So all I did was put my hands right through here. Now I'm gonna just turn it, and I do put a little bucket right there to catch the fluid, because it's gonna start leaking down there. And at the end we'll remove those big bolts and dismantle a little bit on the frame. Okay, so I got this tire here to step onto. Make sure if you have a stem, metal stem, you have a sensor in the tire, you don't break it. But anyways, right from down here, the light is flashing right at us. Let's face it down. So I use the wrenches, the crow feet wrenches, to loosen up. And then after that, you see the fat one to the right. That one was a little difficult to take out. It took me a good 20 minutes, turn. But this 14 one on this side here took me only 5 minutes to take it out. And what I did was I used this wrench. So I took out the 14, the high pressure line first. I turned, and it came out. After that, I put this 17 millimeter on the thicker bolt, thicker line, and I turned. It took me, but on the little line, if you the little line disturbed me as I tried to get my wrench on, and it wouldn't let me, and I couldn't pull it out of the hole because there's a bolt it has like a little mount on the line. It's on that side. Make sure you take that off first. If you're not, you could just get it off like that. It's just gonna bother you a little bit. That's why it took me 20 minutes, because all I had was a small, slight little angle. All right, so now we need to look on this side, see if we can fish out anything from here. Okay, so definitely I can fish out. You see that little number 10 bolt right there on the cover? I'm gonna fish that out, and I can even see the little bolt for the line right there. Once I have it removed, I'm gonna fish everything out from right up over here. All right, by fishing I mean I'm gonna use like a long extension. As you can see right here, long extension. It goes all the way down there, and it goes on top of the bolt. That's how I'm gonna do this. And also can see the bracket cover from here. All right, I know it's a little bit dark, but I have this swivel with the 14, and I got this long extension. Okay, so let me show you what I did down here. If you can see, bear with me here, because there's not a lot of lighting in there. Let me attach this somewhere. All right, you see that 14 right there? That 14 sock bolt we had to take out. I took off the this shield had a number 10 here. Number 10 of this broke off, but I'll attach it with something for the line, the little mount for the line. I opened this clip up right there to push this line out of the way. And then we have another 14. This shield has a small little hole right there. You see the hole? Right through there, we could fish out the second bolt. You can even push the shield like that and get to that 14. But there you go. This side is going to be completely loose, and you do need to take out the shield and all that because that rack and pinion, the mount is part of it. It's attached to that little base of the little clamp that holds the bushing down for the mount of the rack and pinion. All right, so I'm gonna take those 2 bolts out. This side is done, and then all I had to do is take out the 3 bolts on that side, and then a little bit of frame, and everything should be able to come down. Okay, a little bit of update what I did so far. So I'm working on the bolt that's on the shield side. So this bolt, ooh, it made squeaking sound. So if you can lubricate that bottom end of it somehow, some way, that will work out good. So what I did was I opened it up a little bit. I threw shoot out some WD-40, and then I tightened it back up and loosened it up again and again. Same thing with the second bolt I'm working on. And after this, you see that? It's out. It's pretty much out. So this side I'm all done, and that bracket, the mount should just lift off, and we'll pull it out this side. And I've been on this for the whole thing about an hour and a half so far. All right, I'm tired. That bolt got me tired, but I'm getting there. Okay, I'm ready to dismantle this side of the rack and pinion. So the bolts, as you can see, I got a 17mm swivel socket on this, and I'm gonna take this one from right here, and then I am gonna knock out these 2 right here. One is 17 and the other one is 14. The 14 I could get from bottom, or even knock it out from right here. But I do want you to be careful with the lines, and then you have the other evap line, and I believe one is a fuel line, so do not knock any of the lines out. All right, so everything's gonna be from up here. Wow, that was 10 seconds for me to take out both of these bolts. All right, they're both about the same length, same thing, 17mm. And I got 1 bolt left right there. It's looking at me right there. And that black bracket is gonna come out. And now I am ready to go up with this. Okay, so we got 1 last bolt, 14mm right here. Put our gear wrench, ratchet from right here, or gear wrench, and just turn. Okay, I'm gonna put some WD-40 in the bottom end of it, and I am gonna put this back in. A little bit of WD-40. That's how the other side 2 bolts. I'm gonna go on the other side, grab some WD-40, but while we at it, why don't we take a look at what we got done here. And this bracket here, I don't know if there's another bolt. I don't think there's any more bolts. Nope, there's no more bolts. The bracket is stuck onto it, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a pry bar. Whatever. All right, so this, there you go. The bracket for this should come out towards this side. If there's any clearance, there has to be enough clearance. Okay, the little noise you heard is probably the bracket for the line. Okay, so there's the bracket for the mount, the bushing. And I saw a spark plug up in here earlier, so maybe I did the tune up and I never found that plug, so I'll pull that out. But this rack should be pretty loose. All right, I still need to find that little metal piece that fell. Once the rack is out, I'll remove the spark plug. But I was here for WD-40. Got my WD-40, and I got oil all over my hand. Let me see if I can get a rag. I know I left the rag up on the top. There you go. Clean up my hand. Now we need to go to the loosening position. right, I'm gonna take this out completely and then I'll show you guys. All right, this bolt wasn't fun. I should have had gunned it from the top, but I wanted to show everyone. So this comes out just like that, and we'll put this to the side. All right, so rack and pinion, whoa, there you go. It's all loose. All right, one little problem. You know, it has a little rubber boot. Okay, let's forget the rubber boot, because I can't even see nothing myself from down here. Let's see. Okay, never mind. That little, it's like a little pouch. It has 3 number 10 millimeters or 4. You could take that out if you want, but we don't need to. But what we do need to take out is this, because the rack and pinion needs to turn this way and it's gonna slide out from right here. All right, but also I am gonna loosen up these bolts when I have everything loose, and I'll show you. Okay, so far I took off this little guy, number 17 millimeter and a 14 on this one, and I just slipped it right through. So that's this piece right here. I slipped it right through that bolt, and I got the 2 bolts. The long one goes through here, and I took this one off right here, which was on this little bracket here. All right, and I completely took this out. What I like to do is, now that it's all out, I want to get about that many threads back in. That should hold it for me, because you don't want to completely let it fall out. All right, there you go. And then now I know this side is secured. What I can do is I can go on the opposite side and loosen up the opposite side, because I don't want you don't want the whole engine and everything to fall down. But this side, you have a little bit of covering here, and it does have a bracket in here also. Okay, there's a long bracket which has a bolt located right down here, which you need to take out this cover for. But let me try without doing that, if I can get. So that's what I'm gonna do here, and then I'm gonna just let it sit a little bit. Okay, so what I did was I took off this bolt completely. I loosened up both bolts there, and I did loosen up the other end also, and I'm able to twist this thing around and get it out of the place. And then I'm gonna twist it this way, and it should come out, but I might not catch it on the camera. It's a little stuck, so I am gonna put a little pry bar here, and I'm gonna yank it a little bit. And the earlier movement I showed you was that was a mistake, guys, but this is a proper position for this little guy. So I put a pry bar right there, and I let it hit the floor, and this guy should easily come out. So it's all a matter of trying to get it to twist this way a little bit. All right, that's the all hard part. And it took me a good 40 minutes to get this little guy out of where I wanted. So there we have it. The little guy is out. Okay, the new one, we need to figure out how many turns it goes all the way to one side, and then we're gonna turn it and mark it. All right, we're not gonna mark rubber boot and this. We're gonna mark this to the frame. Even if it turns a little bit, at least we can look at it and turn it right back. We're gonna even mark, like this would sit there perfectly. We're gonna mark here and here. That way, when I'm inside, I could see it's sitting perfectly straight. And this needs to be here, this little boot. All right, so we're gonna go over there and we're gonna do this. It's a big mess, it's all right. I'm gonna spray this down a little bit with the cleaner, and that should take care of that. There's our new rack and pinion. All right, always pay attention to the threading here. Check your threading. All right, I know the instructions already, so I don't read none of this stuff. It's all good. And it comes with the inner tie rods, and we're gonna put new outers. Okay, so let me splice all this open. I'm gonna take out these little guys, and we're gonna turn this all the way to one side. And let's say it has 3 turns. We'll go one side all the way, and then that will count one side and then turn 1, 2, 3. Let's say if it has, for example, 3. So pretty much it's gonna turn 3 turns from one side to the all the way other way. What we'll do is we'll come back 1 turn and a half. So that way it's centered and you have a perfectly equal turn to the right and to the left. You don't do that, you're gonna be taking everything apart. Okay, so slightly grab it with the vice grip. Let me grab my light so we can see much better. So what I'm gonna do is, let me take this out of the box. We're gonna have a little bit of fluid spill, it's okay. So, I am gonna go all the way. Okay, this is all the way right here. So pretty much, so if we take a look, this guy is perfectly even lined up towards this little bit of hole towards this this guy lined with this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna count how many turns do we have all together. So we're gonna go around. Okay, starting. Okay, be careful because there's one hole on the opposite side. So we're gonna pay attention to the hole that's close to this vice grip. So this is one right there. And then you have two. Little bit less than three, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back one turn, and then we're gonna go make this side be on the opposite side, but a little bit less. So right there, I think that should, right there should be equally in the center. It's okay if you have a little bit off because a little bit of adjustment, because you do need to get alignment. All right, so now what we need to do is put a mark on this and this, plus on the boot when the boot is sitting on this angle. So let me mark this and then I'll show you. Okay, so I use my paint here, regular paint. I marked this threading here, the teeth with this, and it goes aligned with that little guy. So once I got this in place, everything is nice and tight. When I go on the inside, I want to check if this marking lines with that marking right there. Long as this is straight, everything's perfect. So when you're putting this in, I wouldn't force it from here, push it from here, because you're gonna turn it automatically. Try to grab it from here and get it in there. Have somebody help you. That's how simple it's gonna be, okay? And after that, I'll give you torque specs on whatever I can, and let's see how much we can get. So you're gonna see me put this in. After that, use the reversal procedure because I don't want to make this video crazy long. Let's take this guy in. All right. So here goes nothing. Guy with one hand is about to put a rack and pinion in this Honda. Not one hand, I mean a guy with the one hand and one hand on the camera. So we're gonna do it the same way. Like I said, try not to force nothing. Okay, the spindle needs to be pushed a little bit. And I'm gonna try these little lines up here are gonna bother you. They did bother me, but you don't want to damage the lines either. So be careful with the lines also. So now the other side needs to be lifted because that piece at the end, this guy is touching something, and all it needs is, since it's twisted, it needs to be lifted up and slid on. But I don't have another person helping me. So what I'll do is I'll slightly go on this side, and I try to give a little bit of guidance. Also be careful with these lines. And there you go, a little bit of guidance. Woo. And now a little bit more guidance from this side. And there you go. Now you're just gonna have to play around with this try to stick it back to its original spot and make sure the neck goes in. So that's it, guys. Like I said, I'm not gonna go any further with this, recording this, and be careful with the lines. You don't want the lines to be on the opposite side. And even with the pry bar, a little bit of help with the pry bar would guide you. Just try not to force anything in. Okay, so now we need to come straight. All right, I'm gonna get this. I need 2 hands, like I said, so I'm gonna try to guide it to straight, get it in the hole, make sure my lines are alignment, everything is aligned. Okay, and I did spray some of this brake cleaner, so it's looking pretty good. Look at that. Make sure your rubber boot, you see it's hitting that little hole. Perfect, okay? And now we can check the marking from the top. I know mine did not move anywhere. All right, everything is in there, and I got it all from right here. And it took me only like 10 minutes to get it in there. So I got it in there, then I twisted it, and bam, it slid right into its spot. So the reverse procedure begins from here. All right, everyone, so everything is done. I got the bolts nice and tight on this side. So what you do is try to get all the bolts for the mount first. Mount of the base of pretty much that whole rack and pinion down. Get them all in there, line them, catch threads. Do not tighten them till you get both sides. Okay, as you can see, I got that. I got the bracket in, I got the lines and everything in. And from the top, I got the lines in already. So once I locked up the bolts, caught the threads and tightened them, I'm gonna give you specs. Got my frame here tightened. It's tightened here. This is tightened. These two are tightened. That's tightened. That tightened. I never touched that corner right there, but everything is tight. Tomorrow we're gonna do tie rods together, but I do need to finish up inside, which I'm about to do right now once I pick up my tools, and we're gonna continue this video a little bit more. Okay, we're inside here. So I just want to show you one thing. Don't forget, this is your little yellow guy. If you can do it right, okay? So what we're gonna do is first, let's put this on. Let's check our marking. So remember, like I said, marking is only good if your boot is good. So it looks good to me. And what I'm gonna do is I am gonna put this little guy onto the rack and pinion and on the neck, and then I am going to drop this knuckle in, and then I'll put the bolt in. So very simple. Okay, I got it wrong. This guy is better if I stick it in here, because that's the only way it's gonna align with that groove for me. All right, so let me get this in, and then we'll put the bolt in. Okay, I got the little guy in. Lighting is not perfect, but it's really tight down here. And make sure you get this bolt in, and make sure the bolt has that little thrust washer there, whatever type of washer that is. And it's only gonna go in if the groove is aligned. Okay, so pretty much the splice in the neck of the rack. And I got this in, and I'm gonna give torque spec on everything. I do need to tighten that, which you're not gonna see me do it. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure you torque it properly, and then you put the cover on. Okay, the last thing we're gonna do is, before I give you guys a lot of torque specs on everything, I'm gonna be using this Bacardi here fluid, part number 2520020. Okay, Acura and Honda, pretty good for all of them. Use a good fluid, guys. This thing, both of these costed me under 10 bucks. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this fluid, put it in there, and after that you're gonna start the car up, it's gonna suck fluid off. Shut it off, top it off again. And if you can get help, just be careful you don't hurt it with the belt. Have somebody put it as the car runs. Turn the wheel right, left. It's gonna sound weird. It's gonna take in. It's gonna stutter, all kinds of stuff. Okay, but right, left. Give it a good turns and check your lines. They shouldn't be leaking. Okay, don't just let go of the car and mess up your driveway. And just check for leaks down there. Okay, you can see from right down here. You can look from right there, and that's it. And give it a good 10 minutes. Once everything is filled up, you're gonna see bubbles in here. Give it a good hour, 2 hours, let it settle up. Do it again. It's gonna sound like but you're gonna have to do it. All right, you're gonna have to work some magic there. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in, start up the car, and give it a few cycles. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna head over to my computer, and I'm gonna give you a lot of specs. So it's making a noise and it got a lot of bubbles. That's fine. Give it some time to settle up, okay? Shut off the car, let it sit. When you shut off, it might want to come up, okay? So be careful. Okay, so the 2 bolts on the passenger side for that little bracket on the top of the rack and pinion, I forgot there's like a little bushing underneath. It wraps around. When I removed the rack, I did take that off because that bothered me a little bit. I forgot about that. But this bolt and these 2 bolts, a 14 millimeter, they're 28 foot-pound. Not too much, but there you have it. On the other end, you got the 14 millimeter here, which is 43 foot-pound right there. And then you got this 17 here, and then 17 cross. Both of these are 17. They're both 43. So 3 bolts, 43 foot-pound. There you have it. The 2 lines, you have 21 foot-pound. The little bolt that holds the high pressure line right on the passenger side. See, this is the mount that I gave you the torque specs on the 14. So right top of that, you got bolt here, 7 foot-pound. And here's the bolt here, another one, 7 foot-pound. That's for the shield. The frame bolt. See the frame bolts, 76 and 69. 69 for this one that goes in here, and 76 for this bolt here. The side letter mount here, whatever this is called, you have the 214s, 36 foot-pound, and then you got the 17 that goes straight right through it, is a 33 foot-pound. These specs on the tie rod bolt here, 32 foot-pound. If you're removing this to make your life real easy, this is gonna, I didn't remove this, but remove this, okay? This is gonna help you a lot because this thing is gonna bother, and it's gonna force you to take out that frame further and further. Okay, so this one is a 7.2 foot-pound, so these 3 bolts. The bolt that holds this knuckle together on the neck of the rack, the 10 millimeter bolt, 21 foot-pound. Okay, so there you have it. That's all the specs I'm gonna give you guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, and you can do it.